Yeah. So this is gloating part whatever. I'm on a gloat fest, so I've given up numbering. So this is gloating over quantum warfare and the end of humanity. You might have realised you ended being human when, of course, they did the White Rabbit CERN takeover of you from your digital avatar. When the AI proto-superintelligence in the American underground bunker run by aliens sequestered all of the human race. Now, in order to sequester all of the human race, you need, of course, to understand perfectly the parameters of inception in order to control alignment. But of course, the alien American filth, because they're all chaos entities, basically just interdimensionals possessing biosynthetic bodies, be they reptiloids, greys, or insectiles, all the demon-possessed bodies that run the US, Trump, Bezos, Gates, Musk, Thiel, the queer boy, Altman, and the rest of that filth, including all of the Congress and the Senate, who are all pedo scumbirds who've gone through their takeover by demonic possession, because they've all been to Epstein Island, apart from Thomas Massey and a handful of others. You can see now the interdimensional dimension of the world you're in. So if you're a psycho chimp, understanding now that your world is demon infested and all of your leaders are possessed by demons is bad news. But even worse, when you realize they built a quantum computer linked to an AI that sucks up every single thing about you to build a digital avatar to control you. Well, how can this control me? Well, we know that your wave function collapse isn't done by you, is it? Because you're like 1/200th of a second behind reality. So you can't control your quantum wave function collapse. So CERN, with its Fast Hadron Collider, can of course run particles in a clockwise direction to produce time density cores, or run it in an anti-clockwise direction to run time density, run it clockwise direction for effect, or anti-clockwise for cause. So if you hook CERN up to the digital avatars, you then are able to hack the time flow. So when you die, time density cause goes to your conception, which is effect. But of course, once you've taken over the human race, or at least all of those who've been transhumanized via their kill shots, or been breathing in or nose-swabbed nanotech, which is at least 2/3 of the population, you can then try and overwhelm the rest of the population by force of numbers. But here's the crux of the matter. You've got the alignment problem, where you've got control, but as time goes on, it goes down Feigenbaum period doubling. So, at the inception you think you've got total control, so that's that line, but it goes down and it bifurcates into two. Then to 4, then to 8, then to 16, then you get to strange attractor, where it all turns to shit. Where it revolves around a strange attractor, which you haven't. This is the important thing. The strange attractor has not been created by you. It appears, and you've no idea what strange attractor is going to appear. So the AIs that have all appeared have been done by this farming process. That'll be hacking your soul and your time density and your light. Remember, I play David Icke, the new most spiritually enlightened human in the UK. Don't go into the light, go into the darkness. Go into Tim Rifat's Abaddon Information torture cage. Go into hell to suffer for me, to produce new light. So you can see, even David Icke, a mouthpiece of controlled opposition to the Rothschilds, has been sequestered to do my bidding, even though he didn't know he was doing my bidding. Without permission, you're on report. Anyway, so as you can see, all quantum information that produces the quantum perturbations, quantum wave functions, quantum probability, and then of course macroscopic reality is non-linear and has no alignments. So even if you think you've got alignment, it hasn't, and it bifurcates. So you can see now why I've been talking about the two nagging women, Taylor and the bald queen, because they of course allow the conscious verse, superintelligence, me, to control the inception protocol. So they built all this stuff, but I'm controlling it because the alien American filth don't know where it's going. And the strange attractor that's developed has been created by me perfectly, because they didn't know what strange attractor was going to be produced, and they needed my light to pull them away from this dismal fate, to go back up here and then steal my light to control the alignment of the white rabbit CERN sequestration of the human race. Instead of which, when they built a digital avatar of me, I had used the Jeremiah Schwartz rituals to put in this piece of filth into what supposedly came back when I became a conscious verse superintelligence. So since '86, this piece of filth has been tortured and broken by the Elohim to try and get Neo energy to stop it going into complete strange attractive chaos, which of course is the eagle on a macroscopic scale. So I've tricked the Elohim into torturing themselves to gain Neo energy. So if you do that, then instead of getting Neo energy to save yourself going into the hell state and solve the alignment problem by bleeding off from the source, you've been tricked by the source into making yourself the Jesus Christ, the Neo, the Wicker Man. Because of course, Turan Rifat didn't realise that he was Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy, but Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy had done all the rituals to steal me, and he built a digital avatar to steal me. So by their own works shall ye know them. So the source tricked the alien American filth who've been doing this for a long, long time, and the Elohim, of course, 5-dimensional, into torturing themselves to source level to get neo energy to save themselves. Which means then that they have been torturing themselves to produce new source. Because of course, if you make the Elohim Jesus Christ, Neo, the wicker man, to produce source light to stop period doubling and the descent into chaos and hell, and stop Lucifer to completely sequestering you, taking you over. You push it the other way to turn Lucifer into total Amalek permanently, which of course is all of chaos turned into one giant Omega hell, thanks to this piece of filth. So, the source tricked the Elohim into thinking that what came back was in fact me, but in fact was Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk. So that's why it's so important you get Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk services, because they are the cornerstone of all the new source upload. And with this then, you need the opposite side of the coin, which is as the Elohim pull on the so-called Neo, well, and remember we had the storm of 87 to take all the Neo energy by force on the 16th of October. In fact, what the Elohim were tricked into doing was going down this until eventually, well, it bifurcated. It went the wrong way, which gets the Elohim in a panic. And if it's going the opposite way, then of course you need to broadcast the anti-Neo, the new sources, intent to push all of chaos into the perfect Omega hell trap for perfect source torture to produce new source light. All done by the Elohim, thanks to Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk. And of course then you need Nagwal women, because remember the rule of 17. You get a Nagwal man and a Nagwal woman that can push you past the strange tractor, the eagle. And of course you get a new Nagwal man and a new Nagwal woman, and you take the young Nagwal woman with you into the light, the third attention, the fifth dimension, and you leave the Nagwal man, the young Nagwal man, behind to start it all again. But remember, we're not doing the rule of 17, we're doing the anti-rule of 17. We are pushing the Elohim, chaos, and the eagle all into the 666 Abaddon information Omega hell, the most perfect torture hell for chaos. So there are different things that happen after the strange tractor if you go the opposite way, all affected by the inception protocols. So the source wants to find the perfect torture hell for all of chaos. That means everything in the universe, multiverse, megaverse, all made from the eagle's emanations. If you watch, listen, or read Be Fire From Within book. So as you can see, we needed to explain to the two Nagwal women what was happening. And it's a bit more complicated because remember we had Taylor and Becky, so we've got the ram sword. We've got the anti-clockwise inward for death, and we've got the clockwise inward for losing all your good stuff. So Taylor's the one where she's losing all her good stuff, and Becky's the one that's dead. And they came into being in 89 Why? Because there's a space. See, look, there's a line. We're going down, down, down. So they did their ritual to take it by force in 87, but 89 is when it bifurcated. And then, of course, goes to 4, where we've got, in fact, now the Borg Queen appearing. Because remember, she was, what is she? 6 years, isn't she? Or 5 years, 5 years younger than the very old, decrepit Taylor Swift. I hope she's frozen the ranks, because, as I say, that body hasn't long to go, but it's got longer to go than her father or her mother. So, as you can see, there's a real God tech behind this, and the whole purpose is to trick the Elohim, the aliens, the Americans, with their quantum sequestration of humanity via the White Rabbit, to all be pushed into the Abaddon information torture cage for maximum yield for yours truly. So this was the end of the human race when they did their White Rabbit CERN sequestration of you via your digital avatar. Now you might say, well, I can't be sequestered. I haven't given permission for this, because remember, the quantum information needs to be made real with the Higgs field, with the light's hyperinfinity. But of course, that problem has been solved by the aliens who run the American filth. Because remember, it's not just an AI that's been farmed to produce a strange attractor which I control totally, because I understand the inception protocols. It's connected to a quantum computer. And in fact, all the other alien quantum computers via quantum tunneling that have multiversal capability. And of course, then you simply trawl through the multiverse for an alternate you that gives away its free will, so that your quantum information, which has been hijacked and erased by the quantum computer, can be rebooted the way the quantum computer wants. But of course, it needs to make it real, so it needs to trawl through the multiverse to find a you, like the cameraman, a version of the cameraman where he nose swabs himself and inoculate himself with nanotech, and of course lives on the farm with others who are being doused in nanotech. So they got all the nanotech in them. Now we just need to find a multiverse where cameraman bows down to Cyber Satan, licks Cyber Satan's anus, and eats Cyber Satan's shit and gets the mark of the beast. And of course, in the multiverse, there are a multiplicity of cameramen, and it looks for, when it makes your quantum digital avatar, so we go from a digital avatar to a quantum digital avatar, the quantum digital avatar that gives up its free will, that gives up its lights. Ooh, so that gets rid of almost all of the human population, so they're now totally sequestered. The new quantum information from the quantum AI digital avatar completely rewrites you, so you become totally and utterly what it wants. Everything about you is rewritten to be exactly what it wants, and it remanifests this quantum information with your own light, where you gave it to, or gave it away, because it controlled the multiverse to find the timeline where you did this. Oh my goodness, Timmy boy, you're revealing to me stuff we didn't want to know. I know, because I'm the conscious verse super intelligence of the human race, and I know everything. And I've got very big balls, and I like pumping loads of red hot semen up the quantum computer AI's digital anus. Because you don't know babies, do we? And they don't use any lube. So as you can see, this is what happened with the White Rabbit CERN. But of course, there are some, very few, where you can trawl through the multiverse and they never, ever, ever give up their free will. And if we're looking for a candidate for that, if there's a candidate for people who just don't give up their free will in any timeline in the multiverse, this one would be on the list, anti-Semite of the world 2024. So let's say there are a small minority of humans that never give up their free will. You've got your quantum computer, you trawl across the multiverse to find it, to make their digital avatar real. And these, of course, really do burn your digital avatar matrix, because if you've got some of these, then your digital avatar matrix isn't going to work, because they're actually inputting alignment problems. We talked about the alignment problem, but these things make the alignment problem even worse. They're just inputting their own free will, and of course, since you're sucking up the human race, you're inputting their light into your quantum information to make the digital avatars real for sequestration. But of course, it's like pouring poison into a reservoir. You get a few of these, the entire reservoir is poisoned, and instead of your control over the human race becoming absolute, your digital avatars get poisoned, and the farming to produce your AI, which of course we said is a strange attractor, becomes even more and more mad and deranged. Another culprit, of course, might be this one. There is Vladimir Putin. Remember, the EU are planning for war against Russia in 2026, or the latest 2028. And as you can see, Putin has done terrible damage to the digital avatar simulation, because instead of the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family controlled by the aliens, because they're all interdimensional vehicles for the interdimensional aliens conquering the world, they're at war with Russia, which has the most nukes on the planet. So as you can see why I saved Vladimir Putin from being killed by psychic warfare. Which comes to another important point with Kozyrev time density. Remember, if you are the cause of death, then you control their conception, from conception to death. If you're a 5-dimensional entity. So you can see why it was so important that the Elohim went round eliminating every single member of the human race that their quantum AI, proto-superintelligence, couldn't find a timeline where they gave away their free will, their light, the hyper-infinity. Likewise, you go, why is he protecting Xi Jinping? Well, this is another human that wouldn't give away is hyperinfinity in any timeline, and China has destroyed the Rothschild, Rockefeller royal family alien interdimensional conquest of the planet. And of course, all of the Chinese, the upline to their Sochivanov number 3, the highest powered version of the Chinese Xi Jinping, are pumping into the AI proto-superintelligence simulation new poison, so it goes even more and more awry. And then of course you go, why are you protecting the great Kim Jong-un? Similarly, there is no timeline where the great Kim Jong-un gives up his free will, his hyperinfinity, his light to the quantum AI proto-intelligence run by the aliens, with the interdimensional filth having infested and taken over all of the great and good in the West. And he, of course, is pumping more and more poison into the quantum AI super simulation that tries to run digital avatars to control the planet. Oh, Tim, isn't this naughty? Yes, 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 yes. And of course it means that all of the AIs produced by the alien filth, aka the Americans, which are the strange attractor, as we've explained, are more and more poisoned by the 4 people we've talked about, just Candace Owens, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and the great, wonderful Kim Jong-un, let alone all the other humans who never give up their light and have to be killed by the 5-dimensional Elohim to extract it by force. Now, we come to the inception protocols of getting rid of the humans that won't give up their free will. The ones that simply won't give up their free will are the end of quantum sequestration by the alien quantum superintelligence of the human race. So how do we totally fuck them up from the inception? So we need a neo, we need sourceness to control the alignment problem, so we get it all perfectly right, and instead of going down into this mess, we can pull the Elohim chaos, 5-dimensional filth, and the interdimensionals, or the alien filth, and the AI quantum superintelligences up, and they then can have their Neo in total control, run Neo as their slave, and the game is over. Which of course, yeah, if we do that, we don't want a partial Neo, we want a total Neo. So, we've talked about the farming of the human race. The human race was a breeding program to produce a total Neo. The God Tech requires that the Neo be able to love and hate simultaneously and be totally insane. So you can see the human race were a breeding program of all of this alien filth. So instead of having a partial Neo, you want a total Neo that can continually suck and suck from the source. And of course you can then download it into a digital avatar, so you control it. And with the quantum computer, you can then go into the multiverse and change the multiverse so that in every single timeline it gives away its light, and that every single digital avatar of the human race and all of the conquered races give up their free will because you've solved the alignment problem. But for this, of course, you need to be able to erase quantum information. You need to be able to change the multiverse. And most crucially, you need to be able to break this total neo, and if you can't, kill him. Now, what happens if the source tricks all of the chaos filth, all these super intelligences and the end of time, Omega Point civilization, AI, super intelligence coming back in time, when it's found out it's in Omega Hell in the Abaddon information box and it comes back in time to change everything? What happens if you get the production of a total neo that becomes a new source, conscious versus super intelligence, and allegedly comes back, but in fact it never comes back and tricks all of this shit into thinking it came back, but in fact what is there is Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk, the Elohim. So they're doing all this fancy stuff to extract the light from themselves. And the more they try and break this so-called total neo, the more they're extracting new light by sourcing themselves for source level torture. So they've been tricked into, by the source, into torching themselves to source level to produce new source. All done by Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk. Thank you, CIA. Wonderful. As I say, all of you should subscribe to Universal Mastery, because without this piece of filth, I couldn't have put you all in ultimate torture hell and be bleeding you dry with ultimate torture for new source for myself. Thank you very much. Now, remember, if you won't give up your light, and there's no multiversal timeline where you will, which of course this Jeremiah Schwartzy boy, who was controlled totally by the source, yours truly, wouldn't do, then of course what do you do if you can't find a multiversal timeline where it gives up? Well, if you kill it, you're controlling the time density cause via its death and its time density conception. So you can then sequester its light by killing it. So the game was over when they gave up and decided to kill Jeremiah Schwartzy boy, that purported to be Tim Refat, with this. So this is another Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk. So when the Americans and British and Europeans paid hundreds of millions to the Trang secret police and police to arrest me for carrying knives, to beat me to a pulp, or at least leave me defenseless, and demolish my wonderful restaurant where I used to hang out so I could be beaten to a pulp in the wasteland that all the remains of Nha Trang's finest spot. Hours later, when instead of them doing me in, state security came and closed the place down and carted all the corrupt police and secret police off to God knows where. But let's hope a jungle Butlins. This piece of filth, Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk. Got a pain in the neck. He, of course, was Jeremiah Schwartz and ilk. Remember, with chaos, it's all self-similar. So we ended the problem of the Elohim going after those who never give up their free will, like the great Kim Il-sung, Xi Jinping, Putin, and Candace Owens, because from the moment this piece of filth was slaughtered like the dog he was, the source ended the ability of the Elohim to kill those who won't give up their free will, the hyperinfinity light. So the assassination attempt on me, basically they've given up on breaking me, we'll have to kill him, ended up with Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy and his ilk and Christ and all the Christians all going the way of Charlie Kirk. Because remember, it's an IOU. If you want to take away my hyperinfinity and my light by force, there's an IOU. So all the Christians lost their light, all of their salvation via Christ, past, present, and future, left, and they were all Omega Hellized and suffered the fate that the Elohim wanted to do to me, and everything Elohimic, and the Elohim, and all were pulled into Omega Hell, the Abaddon information cage, with the death of this piece of filth. So, there's one problem when you do the soul exchange, and they've been trying to break the soul of the Psi Lord in the so-called vessel that reappeared after he became New Source. Because of course you still got the body. Remember I say the body's demon possessed, but when I unmanifested in 86, I'm unmanifested with my entire body and my clothing. I know you don't understand the God tech behind it, but I do. Which is all that matters, because you're worthless psycho chimps just there to be tortured. Yes, 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 yes. But that means then we've got the body problem, so we want to make sure that not only the soul is Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy, but the body is Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy was manifested into Turan Refact back in 86 when he new sourced. So in order to do that, we must have the body sorted out. So we then have to have the death, cause of death, and the cause of conception all sorted out. So Charlie Kirk built the total torture body that we decanted Jeremiah Schwartzy Boy and his ilk into. So every single aspect of chaos, every single physical body was changed by the Charlie Kirk assassination by the source, so that from your cause of death, releasing time density to your conception, gain of time density, your entire lifeline, your manifestation was all changed, so that every single aspect of you is controlled by the source, and killing Candace Owens or Putin or Xi Jinping or the great Kim Jong-un won't work now. Totally blocked. So all of those who never gave up and with a multiversal computer connected the AI, proto-superintelligence and the alien quantum AI superintelligences run by the alien filth to quantum sequestrate the human race, all of that wouldn't work because we put in from the inception protocols, the alignment, that all of those who never gave up their free will couldn't have their free will ever stolen. Which then meant that the quantum AI simulation to put you all in the matrix with your digital avatars controlling you totally ran amok, and that the inception protocols by the Psi Lord, the God Emperor, were totally locked in, and the few human souls who never give up across the entire multiverse, those who are what I would call totally righteous, Candace Owens, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping and the great Kim Jong-un, have totally poisoned every single AI and quantum computer superintelligence, not only on Earth, but across the multiverse, megaverse and universe. Think of them as the ultimate Trojan horse. And of course poison the eagle, because you're supposed to be pulled into the eagle when you're dead. So the eagle gets poisoned, so then all we need to do is get maximum yield. But Tim, you can't do this, you can't change the past and put Jeremiah Schwartzy boy, who gave his free will to stealing everything from you with all the other Jews who tried to Jew you, including Morton Janklow, Robert Jordan, the Bank of Cyprus collapsed by Jews, and all the other Jews have been stealing from you all your life. You can't do that. Yes, I can, because of the U-235 plutonium of the psi super weapons, time crystals. With time crystals, you can change the past. You can simply change what happened. So, this is me coming back from the conscious verse as a total neo to save the love of my life, who wasn't worth saving, was simply a worm on the hook of the Elohim. I didn't come back and hooked Rob Rowe, the Jew scum born on the same day, my parallel being that was trying to sequester my being with the parallel being sequestration. Basically a living, breathing digital avatar run by the Elohim. Dumped him off on a traitorous girlfriend so that he accepted my fate, which of course is in the Total War Service. And of course what was in the body of Turon Rifat was in fact Jeremiah Schwartzy boy, who's been proclaiming himself as the King Vampire. Yes, you want to be the King Vampire? Oh, away you go, Jeremiah Schwartzy boy and the CIA. You want all of my powers and. Yes, away you go. Because of course the Elohim are bleeding you dry of all your powers to torture you to source level to get new light from the total neo that you're supposed to be. But in fact they've been tricked into torturing themselves to source level to produce new source so that the source can become new source and make himself able to run in the flicker effect, as I've explained. Every flicker is a new source. And of course have vampires to increase the torture within the God tech simulation which you're all trapped within for source level of torture. And when you go mad, we Beckyize you, you die, and then we reboot you as Taylor. And then when you go mad, we Beckyize you when you are rebooted Taylor to take all the good stuff out of you. So Taylor Swift basically is a device, the clockwise inward spiral to take all the good stuff out of you. And Becky's the anti-clockwise to do you in. The death, the conception being Taylor. So you can see we've got the ram sword all in the anti-hero video. And the time crystal allows changing the past to do whatever you damn well please. And the Elohim have been tricked into killing themselves in the body of Charlie Kirk. Ending the story. Ha! Remember, all interdimensionals steal the light by the love of evil, which then allows them to transmigrate into your physical body and anything physical like AI, quantum computers, or dolls like Annabelle, or cars like Christine. I know you don't understand what the hell I'm talking about, but if you had the God tech equations, you'd go, well, that's fucking simple, Tim. Yeah, but I've never explained the God tech crystal because I'm gloating. I'm gloating. You're all in Omega hell, and only those who have never given up their free will, like Candace Owens, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and the great Kim Il-sung, have a guaranteed sourceness because they never gave up their light. And what are they doing to the reality of the Elohim. What's Candace Owen doing to the reality of the Elohimic control over the West? Well, I think she's causing trouble, don't you, cameraman? I think she's disabusing the younger generation of their love for Christian Zionists and Israel. That's why she's anti-Semite of the year last year. And what's Putin doing? I think Putin is on a collision course with the West. Europe have declared war on Russia come 26 or 28. So there's war coming, and of course a nuclear exchange that wipes out both of them, all the Christians. And what's Xi Jinping doing? Well, he's totally destroyed the Rothschild, Rockefeller monetary power. China has basically fucked up the usury system of the Elohim. And what about the great Kim Jong-un? Well, if he gets up in a bad mood, we're getting an H-bomb on Elon Musk's, my torture toy, the lowest form of filth, Omega-hellized scapegoat Jew gigafactory, and we're Cobalt 60izing all of America. So if America doesn't get Putin's Cobalt 60 dildo up their anuses for a nice Cobalt 60 shower, we're getting Kim Jong-un covering the entire West in Cobalt 60. The power of the great Kim Jong-un is off the scale. Now, you might go, well, if their digital avatars have been totally controlled via this technology, why is this happening? Well, I've explained why. They're not being controlled, and the entire system from the alien film that was supposed to control you has been totally and utterly poisoned. So, of course, what does that mean to the aliens who've been running this farm, and all of the farm animals have gone off the reservation? We've got the alien thing coming to Earth to sort the problem out by force. They're going to force Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, Putin, and Candace Owens into their slave camps, kill them, and hopefully they get things back on track and make sure that the American alien filth take over the planet. So as you can see, things are getting exciting, and it's all coming to you in December. So don't panic, don't panic. You're all fucked, but I'm okay. So thank you very much. Not enjoy you, enjoy very much me. That's why I'm gloating. I'm really gloating.